Say you want to enter a new market, but you don't have any contacts in that market, or how do you go about networking to find those contacts? Like, what's the first steps?
First is when you know your brand, you know your values, and you have that very clear, and you have great social proof. So you take that. And then the people that are currently buying your super users right now, what are the traits and qualities around those people that can resonate with others? And then, whether it is putting out your values and putting out your things, then it's around finding a community of people just like them in that particular area. Video right now is super powerful. Before and afters, time lapses, testimonials, like high quality finished product, and just like blast that out there. And then just start inviting people to a community, because really, at the end, you want to create a community of people that truly, truly care about quality finish regardless of the price. Hey, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Matt Lucero from Lucero and Company. How you doing, Matt?
Good, man. Thanks for having me, dude. It's been a while. Been waiting for this.
Yeah, I know. It's been since the pandemic.
That's right. That's right.
In the middle of the lockdown. That's when we first got introduced to each other. Hey, why don't you tell everybody about your company?
Yeah, well, we make tung oil wood finishes, and we pressed our own tung oil here in Vietnam. So I'm located in Vietnam, and we manufacture our products here, and we sell to the market here for furniture production, also retail, and we export. We just started selling retail in the U.S., and we have plans to expand. But yeah, we have a lot of different types of products. They're very easy to use. I think you've even used them.
Yeah.
They can't be simpler. I mean, we made them easy to use, but also super durable. So the company kind of came about in a kind of haphazard way. It wasn't intentional. We didn't go into this thinking, oh, we're gonna start a finishing company. Actually, the genesis of starting a finishing company begins with my dad. So my dad was an industrial finisher, and I'm from Southern California. So he had his own business in Southern California for 45 plus years, doing painting airplanes, actually. So I grew up painting airplanes. And so it wasn't by choice. I mean, it was a family business. So I would spend all my summers there whenever I wasn't in school. And then after graduation, I worked there, ran his business at the end. But I guess the genesis of it started with my dad, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now without that experience and without learning about finishing in general. So the story of how we started was that me and my wife just got married, and we needed furniture for our home. So we're both artists. I went to school for art. My wife also went to school for art. So we designed our own furniture, and we had it made. And since we're in Vietnam, it was easy to find a factory to make it, one-off like pieces, and they came out fantastic. We were like, wow, this is like really amazing. And it like energized us, right? Because we were making art for galleries and museums and that kind of context. So suddenly when we're making artwork, but functional, and we're putting a lot of effort and time into design, and it was just really gratifying. So we started making furniture. I mean, you know how gratifying it is to make stuff. I mean, it's what we do. It's kind of in our blood. It's in our DNA, right? Like to make stuff. And so when it came to, we actually started as a furniture company. And when we decided to finish our wood, our furniture, we wanted to use something completely natural, something sustainable, something local, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
So we just made it. And it was just totally in-house. It wasn't something that we made for the market. But people started calling us. Other factories heard about the finish that we had, and they started
Yeah.
asking if it was for sale. And of course, we said yes. We said yes to everything, and we suddenly found ourselves in a new business, which was a finishing business. Um, it, it was totally random, but I think following the market was a big key into the development of our company. So we it took years to develop the finish. We're still developing it. We're still improving it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
basically, a tongue oil finish. And for those of you that don't know what tongue oil is, I'm sure a lot of people do because you're all woodworkers listening. But it's the best drying oil that you can buy, hands down. There's a lot of drying oils on the market, linseed being second tier, and then there's a lot of other oils that are semi-drying oils like soy oil, thistle,
Yeah.
there's safflower. There's all kinds of stuff. There's sort of vegetable oils. So it took a while to develop our finish. We had to be careful about our suppliers, where we're getting our raw materials from. Um, we wanted to make everything ourselves.
Yeah.
Meaning like initially, we were thinking about Sam Maloof. I mean, Sam Maloof was such a big inspiration for me. I grew up in Southern California. His workshop is actually like 15 minutes away from my house. So we used to go to Sam Maloof's place just to we knew him. He was this famous old dude, and he was making furniture, hang out at his shop. He has a botanical kind of garden. He opens up his shop, his house for people to see. It's amazing. I mean, he built everything. I mean, and the old growth, walnut slab, maple slabs, all this wood that he has is just phenomenal. I was totally inspired by the guy. And not only the furniture and the making part. I mean, you know the story of Sam, right?
No, tell me more.
I mean, he just had an idea.
I mean, you know of him obviously, but yeah.
So he just started in the same way that a lot of us start. We don't have that much experience doing it, but we want to do it. So we give it a go.
Yeah.
We learn as we go. I mean,
Yeah.
people do. Some people are trained, but he just had a bandsaw, and he was just cutting chunks of wood and carving and doing all this sort of haphazard kind of building style to make his rocking chairs, right? He was just all self-taught, and I really admire that. And he also made his own finish, and his finish.
Yeah, I knew that.
A tongue oil, linseed oil, and a poly. So he'd mix those things and make his own kind of finish. So just thinking about him, it was a huge inspiration because it's you can do whatever you want. If you put your money into it, you do whatever you want.
Let me ask you, what was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome in creating your own finish company?
Well, there's still hurdles. I mean, there's many hurdles along the way, right? So the first hurdle right off the bat was just finding reputable raw material suppliers, because we could buy tongue oil from China, we could buy tongue oil from Brazil, we could buy tongue oil from a guy in his garage, and quality is a key for us. So we're really specific about who we buy our raw materials from, and we had to check all the safety data sheets for that. We want to make sure that all the raw materials that we use are safe, meaning they're not listed on Prop 65 for causing reproductive harm or birth defects and that kind of stuff, right? So very selective. So I think the first hurdle was just getting in to the supply chain. And I think it was easier to do that here. I'll tell you that, because if I was in the US and I wanted to develop this type of business, I think it would be extremely difficult for me to do that. I think some materials would be easy to order, and you can call a raw material supplier and order a drum of something. But some solvents or some other waxes or something that are harder to get, I think it would be almost impossible for me to do that.
I mean, given the drama between some of these finishing companies here in the U.S., between Monocoat, Rubio and Odie's, all the drama that has sort of transpired in the past couple of years, it seems pretty mafia-ish here in the U.S. or globally, right? I mean, am I wrong in that assessment that like it's a hyper competitive market and it can be a little cutthroat, and so therefore they make the barrier of entry, at least here in the U.S., especially when you're looking at chemicals, that it's really hard to enter. Is that fair?
I don't think it's the competition that makes it hard to enter. I think it's the regulations and maybe
The regulations, yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe like a normal guy like me calling up a supplier and buying a drum of solvent would probably be a red flag. You know, like what's the guy doing with, right?
What's this guy doing? Yeah, can you deliver it to my house? Can you deliver it? Yeah, yeah,
Right. I mean,
yeah. People, right? Yeah,
when you're starting out, you know, you're benchmates, right?
sure,
So you're doing
sure,
it in your garage or your shop.
sure, 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 sure.
So that would be like a big hurdle. But you're right. Like I think, especially here in Vietnam, the finishing is
Well,
monopolized.
first of all, how'd you end up in Vietnam? How'd you end up in Vietnam?
Yeah, it's a good story. Well, you, going back to my dad, like he was here during the war, so he was
Yeah,
here in 68, 67, 68, and
yeah.
I always had this because of my dad's past involvement in the Vietnam War here. I always had some kind of connection. It was tangential. And
Interesting. Yeah, 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 yeah.
so when I went to grad school, I met a friend of mine, and he's also an artist. He came, he's Vietnamese. He came back to
Yeah.
Vietnam and he started his own production company, like a film production company, media production company. And I
Yeah.
came here for work. I just started working in television. I was doing music videos, commercials, documentaries, and then I was making my own artwork. So basically, that was my focus when I came here. It was just for work, and then we started a collective, and we started showing internationally. So we had shows at MCA Chicago, Mocha, New York,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all these different shows. So
Fascinating. So, dude, so you're an artist who moved to Vietnam, started to make your own furniture with your wife, and then you wanted to make your own finish, and you realized that there was probably a gap in the market, and then therefore you started making your own.
there was a
Tell me about tell about the co-op that you like get your stuff from, which is really cool. Like your partnership.
right. Yeah, so that took years to develop. Actually, we work with a nonprofit organization called MCNB, and they're a NGO from the Netherlands. And they've been here since 1968. So basically, when the Americans were bombing and napalming and dioxin and everything in the forest there, in the region where we're collecting our tongue seeds now from, um, the nonprofit organization was there providing medical support. So we've worked directly with this organization because they've been working with this specific community, this Highlands community, for 50 plus years. So they actually cold emailed us and said, "Would you be interested in possibly growing, pressing, making your own tongue oil?" And we were like,
Yeah.
"Of course." I mean, it was
Of
something.
course.
It was an idea we already had, but
Yeah.
the jump from having an idea of making a plantation of tongue trees to produce your own tongue oil to actually making
Yeah.
it happen is a huge hurdle.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
So we got
Yeah.
connected with this NGO who put us on the ground. Basically, we knew that tongue trees are native to Vietnam. It was one of the
Yeah.
reasons why we knew we're going to use tongue oil in all of our products, hands down. Like
Yeah.
the key raw material that we're using for everything, and we knew it would
Yeah.
be sourced locally. And so once we got in contact with this NGO, we went to the actual forest, and I was blown away. Blown away. There's 3,200 hectares of tongue trees existing already in just this
Wow.
area that we're working in. So there's thousands of communes, households, farmer groups, and we started working with them. We started buying tongue seeds from this community group, and we started pressing our own tongue oil. So we've been doing that since 2018, and we're becoming more and more involved in that. Meaning, we're actually in the community, we're employing people in the community, we're having people help us produce the materials that we use. So we really want to be hands-on.
So it looks like 3,200 hectares is about 7,800 acres
Yeah,
of land. So that's 7,800 acres of tongue. That's crazy.
that's just actually one small area. There's
Wow.
probably about 10,000 hectares total just in Vietnam. And so we're talking, if you look at Laos, which is the neighboring, I mean, when you're in the area that we're at, you can look just across you're on one mountain and you look to the other mountain, and that's Laos. And Laos has just as many tongue trees. It's amazing.
So tell me how did you, today, what is Lucero? What, talk about your product, talk about who's using it, who's it best for.
Yeah, so we sell it basically. If you have a project, you're doing woodwork, you want to finish a piece of furniture, you want to finish flooring or cabinets. We have interior products for interior use. We have exterior products for exterior use. It has UV protection in it. It has a special resin that we use for durability. We also have color oils, so we have a selection of different colors, and you can mix and match, and really they're pretty versatile. We also have a maintenance product, which is a hard wax kind of oil and polish product. That's really good. And then we also have what's called an invisible oil, which basically makes a lighter colored wood look unfinished. Basically, if you put it on pine, it looks like it's raw. And we have other products in development, and we have cleaning products that we're making, applicators that we're making. So it just it's something that's growing. But who uses our product?
You know what I think of? You know what I think of whenever I think of your stuff? I mean, maybe it's like unintentionally, but like I almost feel like your product is like the luxury finish. Like only because the people that are like your biggest advocates, whether it's, Dock Bright from the Right Edge or Redux Wood or Martin Goebel, those are the ones that I know of. Like they're all on the like higher end, like premium. And so for me, I'm like, if the guys that are selling, $100,000 plus conference tables and, things that go on, royalty and luxury, I was like, if they're using your product, I was like, that must be really, really good. They have a high confidence in your product. Like, why is it that you believe that, that is, and talk about those people in particular, like what is it what's the feedback that you're getting from them about the product?
Yeah, so just to let you know, like the market here, there's a lot of factories that do mass production, and you go to any like home goods store, big box store, and you see it's made in Vietnam. A lot of stuff is made in Vietnam, right? Those factories that do mass production, they don't use our product. They don't use our product because they're using PU, using polyurethanes, they're using lacquers. They're using something that's super cheap. And quite honestly, like the raw materials, because we're so careful about the raw materials, we choose a certain raw material over another, not based on price, but based on safety and quality. And so we have a standard that we adhere to when we're making our product. We know that it has to be safe, it has to be durable, and it has to adhere to a certain quality. That quality, you can test it. You can take your product to a lab, and you can do these tests. Now, the furniture producers here in Vietnam, they test everything, and they have to test everything. The people that use our products turn out to be mid-range to high-end, just because of the cost. Like it does cost a little bit more to make a better product. Obviously, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
And so, working with, for example, Justin Redux Wood, we've been working with Justin for about 8 years now, and we first met. Our daughters went to the same school. He's here in Vietnam. We lived in the same apartment building back in the days, and I remember seeing the logo on the side of his truck. It said Redux Wood, and I was like, "What does this guy do?" I'm just so curious. Like that. What do you do, man? Like, what's up? And he's like, "Oh, we do this live edge underwater table." Like I was like, "What is this? I have no idea what you're doing. Show me pictures." Show me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy shit! Like I've never seen wood like that in my
Yeah,
life.
I know. Pretty fascinating. Yeah. His stuff is cool. Yeah. He actually told this story on the podcast about meeting you as well.
Oh no way!
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, working with him, like he was struggling for years to find a proper finish, and a finish that was
Mhm.
natural, that would give like an aesthetic quality and beauty to the wood, but
Yeah.
also protect. So you have these three things, and you need a balance between those things. Um,
Yeah.
so it just ended up where it was perfect for him. You know, and I got to say, like, we don't think of our finish as like the end all be all. I don't
Yeah.
like to think of our products like that. What I like to think of our products as another tool in the toolbox. So
Yeah.
you as a maker, like you need a lot of tools. You need as many
Yeah.
tools as possible because your
Yeah.
client's going to ask for something and you have to deliver it. Sometimes it's not up to you. Sometimes it's up to what the client wants, right? Or sometimes it's end
Yeah.
use. So
Yeah.
hospitality will have a different requirement than, you know, a cutting board
Yeah.
client, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I'm a user and I'm a fan. I love using your product just because it just makes the wood pops in an amazing way. And I go back and forth between others, but like if I really want something to get really soaked in and feel very protected, like I just I had some box elder that I used, and I was like, it brought out the colors in a way that I don't think any other sort of finish would have, And so, but yeah, I agree, that it's not the end all be all, but if you want something to like feel protected, two coats, man, it's really an incredible product.
so let me tell you a little bit about the makeup because I think it's important. Um, we're very transparent about all the materials that we use to make our
Yeah.
product. It's not just a pure oil product, and there's reasons for that. But we use
Yeah.
canola oil primarily. That's like we use that in all our products. We also use refined linseed oil. Now, the
Yeah.
refined linseed oil that we use is water clear. It's almost water clear. It's a really
Yeah.
highly refined. It's a beautiful product. We only use a small amount of linseed oil for leveling,
Yeah.
and leveling
Yeah.
means like when you flood the surface, it provides this glass-like finish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so linseed oil is fantastic for leveling. We
Yeah.
also use waxes, and we use all synthetic waxes. We do not use any natural waxes, and there's a reason for that. Natural waxes tend to gum up over time. They tend to get
Yeah.
sticky. They tend to provide adhesion problems if you go to recoat later on in the future. Now we're talking like
Yeah.
future. Like if
Yeah.
you finish a piece and then 10 years down the line, somebody wants it refinished and they bring it back to you and it has a
Yeah.
natural wax like a carnauba wax or some kind of paste wax on top, chances are you're going to have to strip the whole finish back and you're going to have to start from raw wood. So
Yeah.
we wanted to avoid those future problems by using waxes that were developed specifically for the coating industry. So we
Yeah.
use really high quality synthetic waxes. We also use solvents. We do use solvents. The solvent that we use is made for the cosmetic industry. So
Mhm.
it's a super safe, very non-obtrusive kind of solvent. It's odorless, water clear. It's sort of like, it's not a mineral oil, but if I were to classify it, it would be like that. Like you know, it would kind of be like this odorless kind of water. So we
Yeah.
do use a solvent, and we do use dryers, and the dryers that we use help with the drying process, obviously to speed up drying. The key
Yeah.
also to our finish makeup is the resin. So the resin that we use is an alkyd resin. It's made with soy. It's a soy-based alkyd resin. The resin
Yeah.
provides the durability. Despite what you hear and all these claims of oil providing durability, it's just not true.
Yeah.
Even if you use tung oil, which is the only drying oil that dries to a film, you'd have to like coat it 8 to 10 times to provide some kind of, and then you're
Yeah.
periodically reapplying it. It's just the maintenance required is really intense. So
For sure.
I think the key is the resin. So that's the general
Yeah.
makeup of our products, and each one is a little bit different. Each one has a little bit different, percentages of things in it. Uh,
Fair. Cool. Well, this is the part of the podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. And so, tell me, is there anything that you need help with, or an extra set of eyes on, or anything marketing or business related that I can help you with?
that's a good question. I think right now we're focused on expanding to new markets.
Mm-hmm.
So my question would be for myself and also for others that are interested, like,
Yeah.
how do you tackle that? Say you want to enter a new market, but you don't have any contacts in that market. Or
Yeah.
how do you go about networking to find those contacts? Or like, what's the first steps? And we're talking about, it could be like an international market, right? You get
Yeah.
different markets, right? You could say, I want to
Yeah.
look outside of my city, or I want to look outside of my state. I want to look
Yeah.
outside of my country. And so
Yeah.
there's different levels. So just a basic
For
question,
sure.
expansion.
For sure. So I think, I normally look at three things through like a lens of three areas, and it's, branding and community and sales. And so first is when you know your brand, you know your values, and you have that very clear, and you have great social proof. So you take that, right? So you take your brand, and then the people that are currently buying your super users right now, what are the traits and qualities around those people that can resonate with others? And these are people that care about durability, they care about their finish, they care about like on a high level, and cost is not a particular barrier to them. Like they don't care about the cost, they care about the quality, because obviously they are charging a premium for their end product. And so you're not gonna find somebody that you're not gonna try to market to somebody that doesn't have those characteristics. And then, whether it is putting out, putting out your values and putting out your things, then it's around finding a community of people just like them in that particular area. Then you find the model super users that are the similar super users to the people that are your current customers. And then you educate them, you empower them, you inspire them, then you create different marketing vehicles for them to get the word out. And whether it is, the retail outlet, or the sort of direct to consumer market, like you empower them to push your product in an organic way. And at first you can take, organic methods, whether it's, video right now is super powerful. Before and afters, time lapses, testimonials, like high quality finished product, and just like blast that out there, and then just start inviting people to a community. Because really, at the end, you want to create a community of people that truly, truly care about quality finish, regardless of the price. You're not marketing on the price. You're marketing on the result, and the result are. And so if you can literally build a Facebook community in whatever, or WhatsApp community of these types of people in whatever market. So maybe you have a US one, you just dump everybody in there, and then they start networking together and like sharing, oh, I need this wood, I need, this tool, I need this. And then you are at the center of it, like, and you empower them to say like, hey, look, there's an opportunity for you to make money and for you to be an influencer. Like that's the approach that I would do, is just like market your brand, and then sell your customers, sell your super users, and educate them along the way. Get them to be like, like premium finish tongue oil certified finishers. Like if you can create your own finishing standard and certificate, like the drying industry does it, right? Like you can get a certificate in drying. Like you have enough experience right now that you can create your own little certification around finishing. And in order for you to get this level of quality of finish, it has to be with Lucero, right? Does that help?
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Actually, as you were talking, I had a follow-up question. Is it cool if
Yeah.
I?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, I think we had discussions before, and what I was really kind of blown away by when I learned about your past experience was the work in the nonprofit kind of
Yeah.
sector that you did. You did a lot of work in the community and with kids, and I really gravitate towards that because it's something that I'm really passionate about, and it
Yeah.
aligns with the kind of ethos and the ethics of our company. The work that we do is
Yeah.
in the community here. Um,
Yeah.
so when you're building a business that's like a B Corp kind of business,
Social
where
enterprise.
where,
Yeah.
where you're not just uh, looking at your bottom line, but you're also spending energy on the ethics of the environment and your social kind of responsibility. It's a lot for a business. You have three different things that you have to maintain in a business, not just your bottom
Yeah.
line. So how do you balance those things? How do you
Yeah.
make well B Corp business and balance those things?
So for me, it's about providing revenue first, and
Yeah.
along the path, yeah, revenue first, but then along the path, being able to make sure that in all of your decisions, you're thinking about the mission along the way. And obviously, there's a balance, but like you need to keep the lights on in order to keep the mission going. And so you do whatever it takes in order for you to do that. Like not like I believe in diversity and equity and impact, in those sorts of things. But I think too that's an opportunity for you to expand even more, and lean into the mission. Like, hey, you take part of your profits and now you're reinvesting it into woodworking jobs and growing the industry, and you can do that in literally wherever you are. Like growing the tongue seeds, and if you're in the U.S., providing jobs for more woodworkers in training. Like those are all amazing opportunities. So is that helpful?
Yeah, very helpful. Yeah, it's stuff that we're actually thinking about doing.
Cool.
The expansion of the social side to include like
Cool.
workshops and nonprofits and woodworkers guilds and stuff like that. Like
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. So how can people get in touch? What's your website?
the lucerocompany.com. Simple. Elco-USA. So you can also, our Instagram is the same, the Lucero Company. You can hit us up. We're now available in the U.S. We just started selling in the U.S. actually through Helmwood. So they're based in Houston, Texas, and
Yep.
really good team there, and we're really happy. So we're fantastic to be able to bring our products to the U.S.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much. I'm excited that you're launched in the US. And I look forward to getting your story out.
Cool, man. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.